My husband caught me cheating with a school friend. Now he's demanding a DNA test and divorce. The door slams shut the moment I step into the house, and I know it's him. I can feel the tension radiating from every corner, suffocating me as I place my keys on the kitchen counter. My heart pounds, each beat a reminder of the secrets I've been hiding, and now they've caught up to me. Julie. His voice is sharp, cutting through the silence. I freeze. I've been dreading this moment. The moment my husband, Eric, would finally confront me about what he knows. What I've been too cowardly to admit. For months, I've tried to keep everything in control, to bury the guilt, but it's been eating away at me like acid. Now, there's no more hiding. I walk into the living room, and there he is. His tall frame leans against the wall, arms crossed, his face a mask of rage barely held together. He looks at me, his eyes burning with an intensity I've never seen before. Is there something you want to tell me? Eric's voice is low but trembling with anger. My stomach drops. I open my mouth to speak, but the words refuse to come out. How do I tell the man I've been with for a decade that I've betrayed him? How do I explain that a fleeting moment of weakness with an old school friend turned into something far worse? I wish I could turn back time. He holds up his phone, and my heart nearly stops. On the screen is a picture of me and him. Jason, my high school friend. The man I promised was just a friend. I know everything, Julie, he snarls. Every single thing. The room spins as I try to process what's happening. He knows everything? How? I never left any real evidence, or so I thought. My body feels heavy, weighed down by the guilt I've been carrying for months. Eric, I whisper, my voice barely audible. I can explain. He laughs, a cold, bitter sound that cuts through me like a knife. Explain? You think there's anything left to explain? I hired a private investigator, Julie. For months, I've been watching you lie to my face. I've seen everything, every text, every meetup, every time you snuck out of the house. You and Jason. I swallow hard. This is worse than I imagined. My legs feel weak, and I grip the back of the couch to steady myself. He hired an investigator? My mind races, flashing back to all the times I thought I was being careful. But obviously, I wasn't careful enough. I never meant for it to go this far, I say, choking on the words. Tears prick my eyes, but I force them back. This isn't about me anymore. I've shattered everything we had. Eric steps closer, his face inches from mine, his eyes burning with fury. Do you know what hurts the most? He says, his voice trembling. It's not even the cheating. It's the lying, Julie. You've made a fool of me. I trusted you with everything, and you just... His voice cracks, and he turns away, running a hand through his hair. I've never seen him like this. He's always been the strong one, the calm one, the one who kept us together even when things got rough. And I destroyed all of that. I don't know what to say, how to fix this. Can this even be fixed? Eric turns back to me, his jaw clenched. There's more, he says, his voice hard again. I've scheduled a DNA test. My heart stops. A DNA test? My blood runs cold, and I feel like I'm going to be sick. He can't mean. What are you talking about? I stammer, but I already know. His eyes lock onto mine, and I see nothing but rage and hurt. Our son, Julie. He might not be mine. The world crumbles beneath me as those words leave his lips. The air is thick with tension, so much that it feels like I'm suffocating. My mind races back to the night everything started. The night I betrayed him. I thought I could control the consequences, thought I could keep my family intact despite the horrible choices I made. But now, everything is spiraling out of control. Eric, no, please. I cry, stepping toward him, but he holds up his hand, stopping me in my tracks. His face is a mixture of disgust and disbelief. Liam is your son. I swear he is. Asterisk, is he? Asterisk, he snaps, his voice sharp like broken glass. Or is he Jason's? Because I've been playing this over and over in my head, and the timing doesn't make sense, Julie. You weren't just having fun. You were risking everything. And now, I can't even look at my own son without wondering if he's really mine. I can't breathe. The thought of him doubting our child, our sweet little boy, shatters me in ways I didn't think possible. My mind screams at me to fix this, to say something that will make it better, but I'm drowning in my own guilt. Eric, I'm so sorry. I whisper, my voice shaking. But he's our son. Jason and I, it was never about that. His laugh is cold, merciless. Oh, it was never about that? Then what was it, Julie? What was it about? You felt bored? Neglected? What excuse do you have for destroying our family? Tears spill from my eyes now, hot and fast, but Eric's face remains stone cold. He's not moved by my emotions anymore. He's beyond that. I don't want to hear any more lies, he continues. I'm done. I'm getting a DNA test. I'll know the truth soon enough. I sink down onto the couch, my legs giving out beneath me. This can't be happening. I never thought it would come to this. A DNA test. My whole life is hanging in the balance of those results, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. And when I get the results, Eric says, his voice dropping, I'm filing for divorce. The word hits me like a punch to the gut. Divorce. The final blow. The ultimate consequence for everything I've done. Please, don't do this. I beg, my voice breaking. Eric, I'll do anything. We can fix this. We can. But he cuts me off with a cold stare. There's no fixing this, Julie. You've burned it all down. Eric turns his back on me, walking toward the door as if every word he just said didn't rip my entire world apart. I want to chase after him, grab his arm, make him listen, but I'm paralyzed by the weight of my actions. The words divorce and DNA test hang in the air like a storm cloud, threatening to break everything apart. I hear the door creak open, and my heart plummets. He's leaving. He's walking out of our life, and I don't know if he's coming back. Eric, please. I cry out, my voice barely a whisper through the sobs. I love you. He stops, his hand still on the door, and for a moment, I think maybe, just maybe, he'll turn around. That he'll stay. That we can somehow work through this. But when he speaks, his voice is as cold as ice. You should have thought about that before you slept with him. And then, the door slams behind him. He's gone. I sit there in the silence, my body shaking with sobs that I can't control. The guilt, the shame, the overwhelming fear. They all crash over me in waves, and I'm left gasping for breath. How did it get to this? How did I let everything fall apart? I can't lose him. I can't lose our family. But I'm staring at the harsh reality that maybe it's already gone. After what feels like hours, I manage to pull myself up off the couch. My mind is racing with 1,000 thoughts, but one stands out above the rest. What if the DNA test comes back and Liam isn't Eric's? I feel sick. My stomach churns as the possibility of losing everything becomes more real with each passing second. I need to find a way to make this right. I need to fight for my family, for my marriage, for our son. But how? How do you rebuild trust after something like this? With shaky hands, I pick up my phone. My fingers hover over the screen, unsure of who to call. Jason? No. He's the last person I want to talk to right now. I need someone else, someone who can help me figure this out. But I feel so alone. I type a message to Eric instead, my heart pounding in my chest as I pour out my desperation. Please, Eric, don't leave us. Don't make any decisions until the test comes back. We can figure this out. I swear, Liam is yours. I love you. I'm sorry. I hit send and wait. But as the minutes tick by, there's no response. Just the deafening silence of an empty house and the crushing weight of uncertainty. The silence is unbearable. My phone remains motionless on the table. No reply from Eric, not even a sign that he's read my message. The knot in my stomach tightens, and I feel the walls closing in. Every second that passes without a response feels like another nail in the coffin of my marriage. I can't just sit here and do nothing. I need to take action. I need to make him see that I'm still the woman he married, that I'm more than this awful mistake. But how? My mind is racing with a million ideas, each more desperate than the last, but I can't think straight. Suddenly, I hear the sound of small footsteps on the hardwood floor. Liam. His presence snaps me back to reality, and I quickly wipe away the tears. He's only 5, too young to understand what's going on, but old enough to know that something is wrong. Mommy. His voice is soft, sleepy, as he rubs his eyes and clutches his favorite stuffed bear. Where's Daddy? My heart clenches at his innocent question. How do I explain to my son that his father might be gone for good because of me? I force a smile, though it feels like my face is breaking in the process. Daddy's just out for a bit, I say, hoping the lie doesn't stick in my throat. He'll be back soon. Liam's eyes, so much like Eric's, search my face for reassurance. He seems to accept my answer, nodding sleepily as he climbs up onto my lap, resting his head against my chest. I wrap my arms around him, holding him close, trying to absorb some of his warmth, some of his innocence. I wish I could turn back time. I wish I could undo everything and go back to the life we had before. Before Jason, before the lies, before this crushing guilt. Liam shifts in my arms, his little voice breaking the silence again. Mommy, is Daddy mad at you? The question cuts deeper than anything Eric could have said. I swallow hard, blinking back the tears that threaten to spill over again. No, sweetie. Daddy's not mad. He just needs some time. More lies. Lies on top of lies. But what choice do I have? How do you explain to a child that you've ruined everything? I kiss the top of his head, my heart aching as he drifts back to sleep in my arms. He doesn't deserve this. He doesn't deserve to be caught in the middle of my mess. And if the DNA test comes back, if Liam isn't Eric's, I can't even finish the thought. I need to fix this. I need to talk to Eric face to face and make him see that I'm willing to do whatever it takes to save our family. I carefully carry Liam to his bed, tucking him in before heading back downstairs. My mind is made up. I'll wait for Eric to come home, and I'll plead with him, beg him if I have to. I won't let him walk out on us without a fight. But hours pass. The house remains quiet, dark, and empty. And as the clock ticks past midnight, a sinking feeling settles deep in my chest. Maybe he's not coming back. By 2 a.m., the house is still silent, save for the ticking of the clock that seems to mock me with every passing second. I sit curled up on the couch, staring at my phone, willing it to light up with a message from Eric. But nothing comes. The weight of my actions presses down on me harder than ever. I feel like a prisoner in my own mind, trapped by the decisions I made and the consequences that are now unraveling every part of my life. What was I thinking? How could I have risked everything? Our family, our future, over something so fleeting? I close my eyes and force myself to remember what led to this. It started so innocently, or so I told myself at the time. Jason was just an old friend from high school, someone who popped up on social media out of the blue. We reconnected, sent a few messages back and forth. I told myself it was harmless. It was just nice to talk to someone who remembered me before life became so complicated. But soon, those messages became longer, more frequent. Then we started meeting for coffee. I told myself it was just catching up, reliving old memories. Jason had a way of making me feel young again, free from the pressures of being a wife and a mother. I convinced myself that there was nothing wrong with it. I was just taking a break from the monotony of daily life. Then came that night. The night I'll never forget. I didn't plan for it to happen, but it did. We met for a drink after work, one too many glasses of wine, and suddenly, lines were crossed. Jason kissed me, and instead of pulling away, I kissed him back. It was like stepping off a cliff. I knew the fall was going to hurt, but for some stupid reason, I let it happen. I hadn't realized the full weight of my mistake until the next morning when I woke up next to Jason, my phone buzzing with missed calls from Eric. Guilt clawed at me immediately, but by then, the damage was done. And now, months later, I'm paying for it. My husband is gone, my family is falling apart, and all I have left are regrets. The sound of my phone buzzing snaps me out of my thoughts. For a brief moment, hope flutters in my chest. Maybe it's Eric. But when I glance at the screen, my heart sinks. It's not Eric. It's Jason. My stomach churns. I haven't spoken to him since everything started unraveling. I swipe the message open, knowing I should just ignore it. But part of me feels like I owe him an explanation too. Asterisk, hey, I heard things got bad. Let me know if you need anything. Asterisk, I stare at the message, my fingers hovering over the keyboard. What could Jason possibly do to help? He's the reason I'm in this mess to begin with. Yet here he is, offering help when everything is crumbling. I don't know what compels me, but I type out a short response. Asterisk, it's over. Eric knows everything. Asterisk. The reply comes almost instantly. Asterisk, Julie, I'm so sorry. I never meant for it to go this far. Let's talk. Maybe we can figure something out? Asterisk. I can't even think about that right now. The last thing I want is to see Jason again. My focus is on Eric, on saving what's left of my marriage. I delete the conversation, determined to put Jason out of my mind. He's part of the past, and right now, the future is all that matters. But as I sit there, the silence stretching on, doubt creeps back in. What if Eric never forgives me? What if the DNA test comes back, and everything I've tried to hold on to slips away? The weight of uncertainty is crushing. I pace the living room, my mind spiraling into 1,000 dark places. My heart sinks with each passing hour, and I feel as though I'm drowning in a sea of my own making. I keep glancing at the clock, willing the door to open, for Eric to walk back in and tell me that we can somehow fix this. But deep down, I know it won't be that easy. When I finally collapse back onto the couch, exhaustion starts to settle in, but sleep is out of the question. The images in my mind, of Eric, of Jason, of everything I've done, won't stop playing on repeat. I close my eyes and let out a long, shaky breath, trying to remember the last time things felt normal, the last time I wasn't haunted by this gnawing guilt. It was before all of this, before Jason and I started meeting in secret, before I let myself believe that I could escape the monotony of my life through a brief, reckless affair. I thought I could control it, but the truth is, it controlled me. And now, I've lost everything that mattered. Just when I'm about to fall into a restless sleep, the sound of a key turning in the front door jolts me awake. My heart leaps into my throat, and I spring to my feet as Eric walks in, his face a mixture of exhaustion and cold determination. His eyes lock onto mine, and I can tell he's made up his mind about something. Eric, I breathe, rushing toward him, but he holds up his hand again, stopping me in my tracks. There's a finality in his stance that sends a chill down my spine. I just came to get some things, he says, his voice flat, emotionless. He walks past me, heading straight to the bedroom without another word. I stand frozen, watching him disappear down the hallway. My mind is racing, but my body feels numb. He's serious. This isn't just a threat. He's really leaving. Desperation surges through me, and I follow him into the bedroom. I find him throwing clothes into a bag, moving methodically, as if he's done this 100 times before. I can't take it anymore. Eric, please, I beg, my voice breaking. We can fix this. I'll do anything. Just don't go. He doesn't stop packing. He doesn't even look at me. His movements are cold, calculated, and it's as if I'm no longer even there. The person I've spent a decade with is slipping away, and I'm powerless to stop it. There's nothing to fix, Julie, he says, his voice icy. You made your choice, and now I'm making mine. Tears blur my vision, and I reach for him, grabbing his arm. Please, Eric, think about Liam. Think about our family. That finally makes him stop. He turns to face me, and the look in his eyes is one I've never seen before. There's no love left in them, only anger and pain. I am thinking about Liam, he says quietly. That's why I need to know if he's even mine. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. I can't hold back the sob that escapes me. He is yours, Eric. I swear he is. But he just shakes his head and pulls his arm free from my grip. We'll see. I'll get the results soon enough. Until then, I'm staying with my brother. He slings the bag over his shoulder and walks toward the door. Panic grips me. This can't be the end. This can't be how we fall apart. Eric, I love you. I cry, chasing after him, my heart breaking with every step. Please don't leave us. He pauses at the door, his back to me, and for a split second, I think maybe he'll turn around. Maybe he'll stay. But then he speaks, and his words shatter the last bit of hope I have left. I can't trust you anymore, Julie. And without trust, there's nothing left. And just like that, he walks out of the door, leaving me standing in the wreckage of my own making. The moment the door closes behind him, The silence feels suffocating. I stand there, staring at the door as if it might magically swing back open, and Eric will walk in, telling me this is all some horrible nightmare. But he doesn't come back. He's really gone. The sobs I've been holding back for hours finally break free, and I collapse onto the floor, clutching my chest as though the pain will somehow stop if I hold myself tight enough. How did I let it get this far? How did I lose everything in just a few months? I betrayed the man who loved me more than anyone, and now he's gone. And I don't know if he'll ever come back. I don't know how long I sit there, crying in the dark. Time feels like it stopped completely, leaving me alone with nothing but my guilt and regret. But eventually, the tears dry up, and I'm left with a hollow, aching numbness. There's nothing left to feel, nothing left to say. I know I should get up, pull myself together, but my body feels like lead. Instead, I sit there, thinking about the worst-case scenario that could still be waiting for me. The DNA test. Eric's parting words echo in my mind. Asterisk, I can't trust you anymore, Julie. Asterisk, what if Liam isn't his? What if I lose everything? I wipe my eyes and force myself to stand. I can't wallow in this forever. There has to be something I can do, some way to salvage the wreckage of my life. But what? I walk over to the kitchen and glance at my phone on the counter, half expecting Eric to have messaged me. But the screen remains dark. No texts, no calls. I swipe through my phone, hesitating for a second before opening my contacts and pulling up my mom's number. She's the only person I can think of to call right now, the only person who might understand the depths of my desperation. But what do I say? Do I admit everything? Do I ask her for advice on how to clean up this mess I created? My thumb hovers over the call button, but before I can press it, another message pops up on my screen. It's from Jason. Asterisk, Julie, we need to talk. I can't just let this end like this. Let me help. Asterisk, help? Jason still doesn't understand. This isn't something he can fix. In fact, he's the last person who could ever help. He's the reason I'm here, standing on the brink of losing everything. I'm about to delete the message when my phone buzzes again. Asterisk, I'm sorry for everything. Let me explain to Eric. Maybe we can work this out? Asterisk, I stare at the screen in disbelief. Work this out? How? By telling Eric that Jason was more involved in this than I've admitted? The very idea makes my skin crawl. There's no version of this where Jason stepping in makes anything better. It'll only make things worse. So much worse. My heart races as panic grips me. I can't let Jason get involved anymore. I can't let him ruin what's left of my life. I quickly type a response. Asterisk, Jason, stay out of it. There's nothing to fix. Asterisk. But even as I send the message, I feel the weight of what's coming. Eric will get those test results soon, and when he does, there's no telling what will happen. If Liam isn't his, I don't even want to think about what that would mean. I sink into a chair, staring blankly at the kitchen table. The clock on the wall ticks loudly, marking every second that slips away. I'm running out of time, and with each passing moment, the life I built, the life I shattered, feels further and further out of reach. Days pass, and each one feels like a year. Every moment is thick with dread, and my nerves are frayed to the point where I jump at the slightest noise. Eric hasn't come home. He hasn't responded to my texts or calls. And I know why. He's waiting for the DNA test results. The thought of what's coming terrifies me, and I can barely focus on anything else. I try to keep things normal for Liam's sake. I still take him to school, make his meals, and help him with his homework, but every time I look at him, I'm reminded of what's at stake. He's my son, my heart, and if I lose Eric, if Eric finds out that Liam might not be his, I'll lose everything. Late at night, when the house is quiet, I lie awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering how I could have let it come to this. Eric was always the one who grounded me, the one who kept our family stable. Without him, everything feels like it's unraveling. I can't imagine a future without him in it. I can't picture my life without our family intact. But the reality is sinking in. Even if the DNA test shows that Liam is Eric's, what then? Can he ever forgive me for what I've done? Can we ever go back to how things were before I let Jason into our lives? I want to believe that we can, that somehow love can conquer all, but the look in Eric's eyes that last night keeps haunting me. He said he couldn't trust me anymore, and I don't blame him. One evening, as I'm cleaning up after dinner, my phone buzzes on the counter. My heart leaps into my throat when I see it's from Eric. For a moment, I'm frozen, staring at the screen, too scared to open the message. Is this it? Are the results in? With shaking hands, I finally tap the notification. Asterisk, we need to talk. I'll be by tomorrow morning. Asterisk. That's it. Just 7 words. No details, no emotion. But those words hit me like a freight train. He's coming. He's finally going to face me, and I don't know what's worse, the waiting or the fear of what he'll say when he walks through that door. I barely sleep that night. My mind is consumed by what the morning will bring. I rehearse conversations in my head, imagining every possible outcome, but none of them feel right. I don't know what to expect. I don't know if he's coming with answers, with forgiveness, or with the final blow that will end our marriage for good. By the time the sun rises, my stomach is in knots. I get up early, moving through the house in a daze, trying to prepare myself for whatever is coming. I make Liam breakfast, drop him off at school, and then return home to wait. The house feels too quiet, too still. As I pace the living room, my heart racing in anticipation. Finally, I hear the sound of a car pulling into the driveway. My breath catches in my throat as I peek through the window and see Eric step out. He looks exhausted. His face is drawn, his shoulders slumped, and I can't tell if it's anger or sadness in his eyes. Maybe it's both. The front door opens slowly, and he steps inside. For a moment, we just stand there, staring at each other in heavy silence. I want to rush to him, to throw my arms around him and beg for his forgiveness, but I'm frozen in place. Eric closes the door behind him and exhales, his eyes locking onto mine. We need to talk, he says again, his voice quieter this time. There's no rage, no fire in his tone, just a hollow sadness that makes my heart ache. I nod, my throat too tight to speak, and we both sit down at the kitchen table. The same table where we've shared so many meals, so many memories. Now, it feels like the place where everything might finally fall apart. He takes a deep breath and pulls out an envelope from his jacket pocket, placing it on the table between us. The results came in. The envelope sits between us like a bomb waiting to go off. My heart is pounding so hard. I can hear it in my ears, drowning out everything else. The results. They're here. The moment that will determine everything. My future. Liam's future. Our future. Eric doesn't move. He just stares at the envelope, his hands clenched into fists on the table. I want to reach out, to grab his hand, but I don't. I can't. The distance between us feels too vast, like an unbridgeable chasm. Eric, my voice cracks, barely above a whisper. What does it say? He finally lifts his eyes to meet mine, and the sadness there is overwhelming. I haven't opened it yet. The words hit me like a tidal wave. He's been carrying this envelope, the answer to everything, and he hasn't opened it. He's been waiting to face this moment with me. I don't know if that makes it better or worse. I thought we should do this together, he says quietly. Tears sting my eyes, and I quickly wipe them away. Thank you, I whisper. It's the only thing I can think to say. I don't deserve this kindness, this chance to face the truth with him, but here we are. Eric picks up the envelope, holding it between his fingers for what feels like an eternity. My breath catches as he slowly tears it open, pulling out the folded sheet of paper inside. The silence is deafening as he unfolds it, his eyes scanning the words. His face remains unreadable, locked in concentration. The weight is unbearable. Eric? My voice is trembling now, fear coursing through my veins. He looks up, and for the longest second, I can't breathe. I can't read his expression. Is it relief? Is it devastation? I don't know. He's mine, Eric says softly. The room spins. Relief crashes over me so hard I nearly collapse into the chair. Tears spill down my cheeks as I let out a breath I didn't even know I was holding. Liam is Eric's. He's ours. Thank God, I whisper, covering my face with my hands as the sobs come. Oh, thank God. But when I look up at Eric, there's no joy on his face. No relief. His eyes are still clouded with sadness, and it dawns on me. This changes nothing. The DNA test might have confirmed that Liam is his, but the betrayal still hangs between us like a sword, waiting to drop. I'm glad he's mine, Eric says, his voice low. But that doesn't fix this, Julie. My heart sinks again. Eric, please. He holds up a hand, cutting me off. You lied to me. You cheated. And I don't know if I can ever forgive that. Tears blur my vision, and I shake my head, desperate. Eric, I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But I love you. I love our family. I'll do anything to fix this. Please, just give me a chance. He runs a hand through his hair, his face etched with pain. I don't know if love is enough anymore. Trust is everything, and without it, how do we even move forward? I'll earn it back, I promise, my voice thick with emotion. I'll prove to you every day that I'm sorry, that I'll never hurt you again. Just don't walk away from us. Don't walk away from Liam. Eric looks away, his jaw clenched. He's fighting some internal battle, torn between the love we once shared and the betrayal that has shattered it. I know what I'm asking for is impossible. I've broken something that can never fully be repaired. Eric, I plead, reaching for his hand. This time, he doesn't pull away, but he doesn't meet my eyes either. I need time, he says quietly. Time to think. Time to figure out what I want. His words feel like a lifeline, but also like a death sentence. Time. It could be the thing that saves us, or it could be the thing that finally tears us apart. I understand. I whisper, my voice shaking. Take all the time you need. Just please don't give up on us. He stands up, his hand slipping from mine. He doesn't say another word, just turns and walks out the door, leaving me alone in the silence once again. But this time, there's a sliver of hope buried beneath the despair. The door clicks shut behind him, and I'm left sitting at the kitchen table, staring at the spot where Eric was just moments ago. My mind is spinning with everything that just happened. Liam is his son. That should be enough to pull us back from the edge, but I know it's not. The truth is, the real damage isn't about Liam. It's about trust, and I've destroyed that. He needs time. I get that. But every second that passes feels like a ticking clock, counting down to something final, something that could rip our family apart forever. I stand up, my legs trembling, and walk over to the window. I watch as Eric gets into his car and drives away, the taillights disappearing down the street, taking the little bit of hope I had with them. The house feels emptier than ever. I can't stand the silence. I can't stand the thought of being here without him, wondering if he's going to come back or if this is it. The tears start again, and I hate myself for it. I've cried so much over the last few days that I didn't think I had any left, but here they are, pouring out of me like a flood I can't stop. I pick up my phone, desperately scrolling through my contacts. I need someone to talk to, someone who can help me make sense of all this. My finger hovers over my mom's name again, but I still can't bring myself to call her. How do you explain something like this? How do you tell your mother that you've ruined your marriage? That your husband might not come back because you cheated? I drop the phone onto the couch, feeling helpless. What do I do now? Just wait? Hope that time will heal everything? I can't shake the feeling that time will only widen the gap between Eric and me, making it harder for us to come back together. The thought of him out there, alone, wrestling with his thoughts, thinking about leaving us, it's more than I can handle. Just as I'm about to sink into despair again, my phone buzzes. I leap for it, my heart racing. Maybe it's Eric. Maybe he's reconsidered. Maybe he's... But it's not Eric. It's Jason. Julie, I've been thinking about what you said. We need to meet. I can't just leave this hanging. I care about you. Please, let's talk. I stare at the message, my fingers tightening around the phone. Jason doesn't get it. He doesn't understand that this isn't something he can fix. He's the reason this happened in the first place. But the worst part? A small, treacherous part of me feels comforted by his words, by the fact that someone out there still cares. I hate that I feel that way. Without thinking, I text him back. There's nothing to talk about, Jason. I've destroyed my family. Don't make this worse. I hit send and toss the phone aside. I can't deal with Jason right now. I can't deal with anything right now. My mind is too tangled, too lost in the aftermath of everything that's happened. The only thing I know for sure is that I need to focus on Eric, on my family. Jason is part of the past, a mistake I'll regret for the rest of my life. Hours pass in a blur. The house stays quiet, and the longer the silence stretches on, the heavier it feels. At some point, I fall asleep on the couch, my body too exhausted from the emotional roller coaster to stay awake any longer. When I wake up, it's dark outside. I glance at the clock, 2 a.m. The house is still, except for the quiet hum of the refrigerator. I sit up, groggy and disoriented, but then it hits me all over again. Eric is gone. Liam is asleep upstairs, blissfully unaware of the storm that's tearing his family apart. I grab my phone again, hoping, praying, for a message from Eric. But there's nothing. No calls. No texts. Just the deafening silence of an empty inbox. I'm losing him. I can feel it. And I don't know how to stop it. The following morning, I wake up to the sound of Liam calling me from his room. I force myself to get up, knowing I have to keep things as normal as possible for him, even though everything feels like it's falling apart. The moment I step into his room, he greets me with a bright smile, his innocent eyes lighting up with joy. "Mommy, are we going to the park today?" he asks, his voice filled with excitement. I manage a weak smile. "Sure, buddy. We'll go after breakfast." His face lights up even more, and he runs past me, already eager to start the day. Watching him, I feel a lump form in my throat. He has no idea what's going on, no idea that his dad might not come back. I can't let him see how scared I am, how broken I feel inside. I have to hold it together for him. I make him breakfast, trying to focus on the simple tasks of pouring cereal and getting him dressed. Every so often, I check my phone, hoping that Eric has messaged or called or something. But the screen remains dark and the silence stretches on. After breakfast, we head to the park. I watch Liam run around, his laughter filling the air, and for a moment, I can almost pretend things are okay. Almost. But then the memories come flooding back. Eric's face, his voice, the look of betrayal in his eyes. My heart sinks, and I have to blink back the tears before they start again. As Liam plays, I sit on the park bench, scrolling aimlessly through my phone. I know I shouldn't, but I end up rereading the last few messages from Eric, the ones that led to this. Asterisk, we need to talk. Asterisk, that's what he said. But we didn't really talk. He left before we could truly figure anything out. I feel a familiar buzz in my hand, and for a split second, my heart leaps. I glance at my phone, expecting to see Eric's name. But it's not him. It's Jason, again. Asterisk, Julie, I don't want this to end like this. Can we please talk in person? Asterisk, I stare at the message, frustration and anger bubbling up inside me. Why won't he let this go? Why can't he understand that we're done? I can't even think about Jason right now. Not when I'm trying to hold on to the one thing that matters most, my family. I type back a quick response, my fingers shaking with frustration. Asterisk, Jason, it's over. We can't meet. You've done enough damage. Asterisk, I send it, feeling a surge of emotion hit me like a wave. It wasn't just Jason's fault. This was on me too. I let this happen. I made these choices. I'm the one who destroyed everything. The guilt is suffocating. I watch Liam play, his carefree laughter ringing in the air, and I wonder how long it will be before he starts asking questions. How long can I keep this up, pretending everything's fine when it's not? I take a deep breath, forcing myself to focus on the moment, on Liam's happy face as he runs toward me, arms outstretched, calling for me to watch him on the slide. I push all the fear and doubt to the back of my mind. For now, I have to be strong for him. I can fall apart later. Right now, I just need to keep going, one step at a time. Hours pass, and eventually, we head home. As I pull into the driveway, I feel a wave of exhaustion wash over me. The house feels emptier than ever. Eric's absence is like a constant, looming shadow, and I wonder how much longer this will go on. After I put Liam to bed, I sit down in the quiet of the living room, my thoughts swirling. What if Eric never comes back? What if he decides he can't forgive me? The future feels so uncertain, and I'm terrified of what it might hold. I reach for my phone again, unable to stop myself from checking one more time. Still no messages from Eric. My heart sinks. I don't know how much longer I can take this limbo, this waiting for a decision that could shatter everything. Suddenly, my phone buzzes again. I nearly drop it in my rush to check, but it's not Eric. It's another message from Jason. Asterisk, I'm outside your house. We need to talk. Asterisk. My heart stops. Jason is here? Panic surges through me as I glance toward the front door. What is he thinking? Why would he show up now, after everything? I feel a rush of fear. This is the last thing I need right now. My heart races as I stare at the message, my mind scrambling to figure out what to do. Jason is outside. I can't believe he's here, standing just beyond the door, waiting to talk to me after everything. Panic tightens its grip on me as I glance at the front window, half expecting to see his silhouette in the driveway. This can't be happening. Not now. Not with everything so fragile, with Eric gone and our family hanging by a thread. I rush to the window, peeking through the curtains, and there he is, Jason, leaning against his car, arms crossed as if he has all the time in the world. My pulse quickens. He's here because he still thinks there's something left to salvage, but he couldn't be more wrong. I can't let him in. I can't let him complicate this mess any more than it already is. I quickly type a response, my hands shaking as I hit send. Asterisk, go home, Jason. There's nothing to talk about. Asterisk. I stand by the window, watching as he pulls his phone from his pocket and reads the message. For a moment, I think he might leave. His shoulders slump, and he looks down at the ground, like he's weighing his options. But then, instead of getting back in his car, he starts walking toward the front door. No, I whisper, panic rising in my chest. I can't deal with this right now. I can't have Jason here, not when everything with Eric is still so raw. I rush to the door and flip the deadbolt, just as his footsteps echo on the porch. He knocks. Julie, open the door. We need to talk. Jason's voice calls from the other side, calm but insistent. I press my hands against the door, willing him to go away. My thoughts are racing, a tangled mess of guilt, fear, and frustration. I don't know what to do. I don't want to see him, don't want to even think about him right now. But I also can't ignore the fact that he's out there, waiting for an answer. I told you to leave, Jason, I say, trying to keep my voice steady but failing miserably. Just 5 minutes. Please, he says, softer this time. I don't want things to end like this. A surge of anger flares up inside me. And like this, it's already over. I ruined everything by getting involved with him in the first place, and now he's here, trying to fix something that can't be fixed. Jason, go home. I shout, my voice rising. We're done. You're not helping. There's a long pause on the other side of the door, and for a moment, I think he's finally going to leave. But then he speaks again, his voice lower, more serious. Eric's gone, isn't he? Let me help you through this, Julie. You don't have to go through it alone. Those words cut deep, and for a split second, I falter. I am alone, aren't I? Eric is gone, and I don't know if he'll ever come back. Jason knows that. He's playing on that vulnerability, offering me a lifeline in the middle of this storm. But I know better. He's part of the problem, not the solution. I take a deep breath, my resolve hardening. I can't let Jason stay in my life. Not now. Not ever. No, Jason, I say firmly, my voice steady now. I do have to go through this alone. Because of what I did. Because of what we did. You need to leave. For a moment, there's nothing but silence. Then I hear him sigh, and his footsteps retreat from the porch. I watch from the window as he walks back to his car, his shoulders slumped in defeat. He pauses for a second, glancing back at the house, and I can see the frustration etched on his face. But then he gets into the car and drives away. I collapse onto the couch, my body trembling. The panic begins to subside, but the weight of everything I've done is still crushing. It's like I'm drowning, and every attempt to swim to the surface only pulls me further under. Jason's gone, but the mess he left behind is still here, waiting for me. I need to focus on Eric, on Liam. I need to rebuild, brick by broken brick. Jason is part of the past, a mistake I'll regret for the rest of my life. But Eric is my future, if I can still save it. The house feels quiet again, and I glance at my phone, hoping, no, praying, that there will be a message from Eric. But there's nothing. Only the emptiness of a dark screen and the uncertainty of what comes next. The next morning, I wake up to the same familiar dread. The house is still and quiet, the weight of Eric's absence pressing down on me like a heavy blanket. I feel hollow, like a shell of myself, just going through the motions of the day. Liam is up early, already bouncing with energy, his cheerful voice a painful contrast to the storm brewing in my heart. I make him breakfast, barely managing to fake a smile as he chatters on about his favorite cartoons. Every minute that ticks by feels like another reminder that Eric still hasn't called, hasn't texted, hasn't come home. It's like I'm stuck in some kind of purgatory, waiting for a decision that will either save me or break me completely. After I drop Liam off at school, I drive aimlessly through the neighborhood, trying to clear my head. But no matter where I go, the same thoughts circle back, over and over. Will Eric ever forgive me? Can we ever rebuild the trust that I shattered? Or is this the beginning of the end? I pull into the driveway, turning off the engine and sitting there in the quiet car for a moment. I know I need to move forward, but I feel stuck, frozen in the middle of the mess I created. I need to talk to Eric, to explain how much I regret everything, how desperate I am to fix this. But how can I fix something when I've already destroyed it? As I walk inside, my phone buzzes in my pocket. I yank it out, heart racing, but when I see the name on the screen, my stomach drops. It's not Eric. It's my mother. I hesitate for a moment, staring at the phone. I haven't told her anything yet. She has no idea what's going on, and I've been dreading this conversation. But I can't avoid it any longer. With a deep breath, I answer, "Hi, Mom." "Julie, honey," she says, her voice warm but concerned. "I haven't heard from you in a while. Everything okay?" The familiar sound of her voice nearly undoes me. I bite my lip, trying to hold back the tears. How do I even begin to tell her everything? I'm not okay, I admit, my voice trembling. Eric found out about Jason." There's a long pause on the other end of the line, and I can practically hear her processing what I just said. "Oh, Julie," she whispers, the disappointment clear in her voice. "What happened?" I tell her everything, the affair, the guilt, the DNA test, Eric's reaction, and how he's been gone for days now, unsure of whether he wants to stay in this marriage. I pour out every detail, and by the time I finish, I'm choking back sobs again, feeling like a little girl who's messed up and doesn't know how to fix it. "I don't know what to do," I cry. "He says he needs time, but what if he never comes back? What if I've lost him for good?" My mom sighs softly. "Julie, you made a mistake, a big one. But if Eric loves you, if he loves your family, he'll come back. But you have to be patient. You have to give him time to process everything." "I don't know if I can be patient," I whisper, my voice breaking. "What if he's already decided he's done?" "Then you have to accept that too," she says gently. "I'm not saying it will be easy, but you can't force him to stay. He has to make that choice on his own." I nod, even though she can't see me, tears streaming down my face. I know she's right, but the thought of losing Eric, of losing everything we've built together, is too much to bear. "What about Liam?" I ask, my voice small. "What do I tell him if Eric doesn't come back?" "You tell him the truth," my mom says softly, "that his dad loves him, no matter what happens between the two of you. But Julie, don't give up hope just yet. People make mistakes, and sometimes love is strong enough to survive them." I sniffle, wiping my eyes. "Do you really think Eric could forgive me?" "I don't know," she says honestly, "but I think you need to give him the space to figure that out. And you need to figure out how to forgive yourself too, Julie. This isn't just about Eric. It's about you and the choices you made. You can't move forward if you're still stuck in the past." Her words hit me hard, and I nod again, even though I feel far from ready to forgive myself. How can I, when I've destroyed the one thing that mattered most? But maybe she's right. Maybe the first step in fixing this is accepting what I've done and being honest with myself. I thank her, hanging up the phone, feeling slightly lighter, but still weighed down by the uncertainty of what comes next. Eric still hasn't reached out, and each passing day feels like an eternity. All I can do now is wait and hope. Days pass, and the silence from Eric feels heavier than ever. I keep trying to stay strong, for Liam's sake and for my own sanity, but the weight of not knowing, of waiting for a decision that might destroy our family, is suffocating. Each morning, I wake up hoping that today will be the day Eric comes back, or at least calls, but the emptiness stretches on. One afternoon, after picking Liam up from school, I sit him down at the kitchen table for a snack. His little face beams up at me, completely unaware of the chaos that's been swirling around him. He's blissfully innocent, and I realize that no matter what happens, I have to protect that innocence. I have to make sure that, no matter what, he knows how loved he is. "Mommy, when's Daddy coming home?" Liam asks, his voice filled with the kind of childlike curiosity that stabs straight through my heart. I freeze, trying to find the right words. I've been dreading this question, and now here it is, staring me in the face. I take a deep breath, kneeling down to be at eye level with him. "Daddy, he's just taking some time right now, sweetie," I say, my voice trembling. "But he loves you very much, and he's going to come back soon." I don't know if I'm lying or not, but I can't bring myself to tell Liam that I'm not sure what the future holds. I want him to feel secure, even if I don't. Liam seems satisfied with the answer for now, nodding as he munches on his snack. I kiss the top of his head, my heart aching. I wish I could give him the certainty he deserves. I wish I could give myself that certainty. Later that night, after I've put Liam to bed, I find myself pacing the living room again. The silence is unbearable. I check my phone obsessively, hoping for any sign of a message from Eric. But again, nothing. I sink onto the couch, burying my face in my hands. I don't know how much longer I can do this. The waiting, the guilt, the fear. It's eating me alive. Just as I'm about to break down again, I hear the faint sound of a car door closing outside. My heart skips a beat. I rush to the window, pulling back the curtain, and there it is, Eric's car in the driveway. I don't know what to expect. I don't know if he's here to tell me he's coming back, or if he's made the decision to leave for good. My hands tremble as I walk to the door, my heart pounding in my chest. When I open the door, Eric is standing there, looking exhausted and worn down. His face is unreadable, a mix of emotions flickering behind his eyes. He doesn't say anything for a long moment, just staring at me, and I can't tell what he's thinking. "Can I come in?" he finally asks, his voice quiet. I nod, stepping aside to let him in. My stomach churns with anxiety as he walks into the living room, his movements slow, deliberate. I close the door behind him and turn to face him, my heart in my throat. Eric sits down on the couch, running a hand through his hair. I stand there awkwardly, unsure of what to do, what to say. The tension between us is thick, but I know this is the moment everything will be decided. "I've been thinking," he begins, his voice low and measured, "about everything." I sit down across from him, my hands clasped together tightly. I don't dare interrupt him. "I'm angry, Julie," he continues, his eyes meeting mine with an intensity that makes my chest tighten. I don't know if I'll ever stop being angry about what happened. Tears well up in my eyes, but I blink them back. I need to hear him out. But I also can't stop thinking about Liam. "About our family," he says, his voice cracking slightly. "I don't want him to grow up without both of his parents." I nod, tears finally slipping down my cheeks. "Eric, I'll do anything. I know I broke your trust. I know I hurt you in the worst way possible. But I love you. I love our family. I'll spend the rest of my life making up for what I've done." Eric's gaze softens slightly, but the pain is still there, lingering just beneath the surface. "I don't know if it'll ever be the same," he admits, "but I'm willing to try. For Liam. For us." Relief floods through me so powerfully that I can barely breathe. "Thank you," I whisper, choking on the words. "Thank you for giving me a chance." He looks away, his jaw clenched. "This isn't forgiveness, Julie. Not yet. It's going to take a long time for me to trust you again." "I know," I say quickly. "I'll do whatever it takes." Eric stands up slowly, his eyes locking onto mine again. "We'll take it one day at a time. But if you ever lie to me again, If you ever betray me again, it's over. Understand? I nod, tears still streaming down my face. I understand. He walks toward the door, pausing for a moment before turning back to face me. I'm staying at my brother's for now. I need more time. I nod again, watching him leave. The door closes softly behind him, and though he's gone again, this time it feels different. This time, there's hope. Maybe, just maybe, we can rebuild from here. The story ends here. Have you ever experienced a moment where hope seemed impossible but found a way to rebuild? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.